Ron G Morning Show, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on WSAN Radio. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You in for a treat this morning. We got the very own Don Diego here today. And I've been following you for a while undercover. When you was coming down to San Antonio, I've been to a couple of your gigs
Right.
and see the music. I'm from the Chicago area, and that reminds me when I hear you play. That reminds me going to see back then we went to them old bars and stuff that was smoky and you could smell the alcohol in there, but it'd be some good musicians up in there in a session. Yeah, juke joint. There it is. And we would sit up in there for hours, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And after the show is over with, some would stay around, need to start jamming, having a jam.
Right.
And when I heard your music, did that remind me of that atmosphere?
Yeah, it's as a matter of fact, there's a song on that same album, that same CD. I say album because I'm old school, but that same CD, and you're not going to be able to say CDs anymore. You're going to just say project. So
yeah,
and on that project, I have a song called Ego's Juke Joint, and that's the whole thing I was trying to portray, that type of thing.
But it did. It hit the point right there. I mean, it was real good. But your style is unique. I think I read somewhere that you could do a Chris Stapleton and roll right into Carly B and all that. So you all over a spectrum of music. And see now, when people come see you, you and your band put on a show on how it was back in the days.
Right.
You put on a show. Now the young cats now they get out there, they think 45 minutes to get off the stage, huh? What?
Right.
What? Wait a minute. What did I just pay for?
Right. And you say that my whole concept, instead of just years ago I would just play because that was my thing, jazz and just play. Well, you have to change with the time and adapt with the time. So I started doing. So the name of my band is Raz. So Raz mean jazz melodies and hip hop harmonies. And that's why I come up with Raz. So we'll cover it all. We'll do it all. And
I see. I mean, let me see. It was one person on here. Let me see. Was it Kirk?
Kirk Whalum, yeah.
Kirk Whalum and Gerald Albright. You know, I seen Kirk in Austin in 2020, right before the pandemic. They had a jazz fest up there. I seen him up there, man. That's something else.
My mentor, man. Kirk, we went to school, we went to college together. We both went to Texas Southern University in Houston. So we were in the same jazz ensemble under Atlantic Steele. So for 4 or 5 years, Kirk and I was together. And I met Gerald Albright on the CD. I called him up and we talked and we got to know each other and we started doing a couple of shows together. And then I called him and asked him to come play on a CD with me. And he flew up and we had a great time. That was back when now you play on people's projects and they just send you the music and you do it in your studio and send it back to them.
Yeah.
And we flew him in and we had a, label flew him in and we had a good time. We hung out and practiced for a day and recorded the next morning.
So let's talk about that. People, singers, musicians, they're tight. They got the tight-knit group. And when you say, oh, he's going to come play on my album with me, he's going to come do this, come do that. How is that? Because a lot of people sit down there and, of course, you got the contact. So you call people up and they're willing to help you out. So why is it different nowadays that everybody is so standoffish now? They don't want to collaborate with too many people. They want to do things on their own. Is it because their head got too big or they feel they better than anybody else? Because that's what I'm seeing with some of the newer cats coming out now. They're sort of like on their own, which we could look at that because the pandemic taught everybody to be on their own, not rely on each other. Is that a phase that we're going through?
I don't know if that's a phase we're going through because I was raised, I was born in New Orleans, but I was raised here in Texas. And we've always been that every man for himself thing, you know. And you see, Kirk wasn't from here, and most saxophone players that I've met and I've worked with, they all been pretty nice, pretty good to talk to, and pretty nice. Now, I don't know about other musicians. I'm pretty sure they are, but most saxophone players, I could call up and the same thing with Kenny G. We play together, call him up, we talk, and we've done things together as well. But I think it's just a mentality of, I think the pandemic got everybody scared, afraid. So, you know, you got to try to make it while you can make it, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I just put my trust in God and Jesus Christ, man, and have faith and roll with it. I have to. Because if I don't, I'm gonna go crazy. You hear me?
Oh, well, see, that's your outlet. Your music is your outlet. You have an
Right.
outlet. You can sit down, pick up that sax, and you can start playing, and you probably come up with a song. You said they're just messing around.
That's enough. Like on one of my CDs, it's called Happy Lonely. I recorded it when I was in the Middle East, and that was like the first job that I took. Like I'm playing it with the Middle East band, from these bands from Egypt, and we all met up in the Middle East. Well, that's the first time I took a job by myself, not knowing anybody. And they gave me an apartment, and I had a keyboard, and but I didn't know anybody there. I didn't speak the language. I knew the promoter that booked it, but I was able to write a whole CD. The CD is titled Happy Lonely, happy in the spirit, lonely in the flesh. So I was able to do a lot of work. But back to what you were saying about the pandemic, when it first started, me as a musician didn't believe in it. I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. And this was in March when it first started. And then I said, well, I just practiced for 2 or 3 weeks. It can't last no more than 2 or 3 weeks. And then
Yeah.
you be at home practicing, and then 2 or 3 weeks pass by, then a month passed by, then 2 months passed by, and you're not doing no work. And it's like, oh man, this is getting serious. So I
Yeah.
think that has a lot to do with how people are now. I don't think they mean to be that way. It's just that they're trying to get it for themselves. And what can you say?
Yeah. What you were saying, and about meeting people you never played with before. Is there an international version? I mean, not a version on how musicians come together and sort of that chemistry come together without speaking the same language, but y'all know how to play that music together.
Oh yeah, music is the universal language right there.
Yeah.
We all speak music. Musicians do. We all speak music. And if that's my genre, if that's like a producer will go out and find people who would fit. Now, if you got somebody else to play this part, well, I'm the producer. I want it to sound like this. And I can't really tell the person how I want them to play it, but I know the person, if I get this person, I know what he does. So he's going to automatically do what I want to be done without me having to tell him, because that's what a producer does. He goes out and finds the people to fit the music and to fit the parts. And it can be anywhere in the world. And if that's what they feel, they can call a person. And most of the time it works out good.
And that's what I like about jam sessions growing up. People just get together and they feed off each other. And
Right.
you never hear that music again because it's a one-time shot when you do
Right, right,
a session.
right.
And I remember a jam session one time that when BB King came in, he was just
Uh-huh.
sitting there and nobody ran up to him. BB King, everybody sat back so laid back. He got there, brought Lucille up there, and got up there and was in a jam. So they played for like 2 hours just having fun.
Right.
And that's the things that I like looking for right there, because that's beautiful music together when you sit down there. Because sometimes that chemistry is there and how y'all feed off each other. I'm sitting out saying, how do y'all know when to play your part when you're doing a jam session?
You don't, you just get in where you fit in. And the thing about that now is, when I was coming up, it's nothing to sit in and play all night for free, just because a jam session, like you said. Or we call them, they call it now, what they call it, where they get together, shedding. They call it shedding. Well, now when you're grown and got families and you got kids, you got wife, like you say, Christmas and all this, and you got responsibilities, you can't really be shedding all night for free. You can't be going out jamming jam sessions. You know what I'm saying?
You sure
So
can.
it kind of shuts that down. Now coming up, and when I was a kid, I'd be out all night playing with no problem. But now it's a whole lot different. I very rarely go to a jam session where I'm just hanging out playing. Nah,
Yeah.
I don't even sit in with people hardly anymore. But mainly because I don't like to jump in nobody else's fire. You
Yeah, I
know.
hear you. I hear you. Speaking about jumping to the fire, you'll be down here next week, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll
In
be back.
San Antonio. Is it at the Marriott, if I'm right?
I think it's at the Marriott. Yeah, and we've done it for years, and we skipped a year, and now they hired us back. But it's about 3,000 to 4,000 people in there, man. And it's amazing how it comes together. You know, it's beautiful. If you've never gone, you should come. You know.
Yeah, which car got a hold of me, the promoters, uh,
Uh-huh.
got a hold of me and I asked him, what can I do for you? He said, man, can you talk about what we got going? I said, no problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I don't even know how they advertise it. I'm not aware of that. But I tell you what, every year it's more and more people there.
Well, I've been doing it on my show for the past month, I think.
Right.
We've been talking about it and putting things out on Facebook and everything. And so, but
Thanks for having me.
yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
but because we had talked earlier this year, and I told you when it comes down close to you're going to be here, I want to get you on the show.
Okay.
Uh, um, and then you send me some music, and I'm listening to music, and I put it in my rotation. Now I got a
Appreciate
jazz 3 hour show on Saturdays. That's in there, and I put your music also on Sunday afternoons. I got it. It's contemporary music.
it.
Nothing too fast, nothing too slow. Just sit down and play. So your music is perfect for that
Thank you.
and everything. Now, let's get on talk about your Raz band. I am curious about that band right there. So y'all play all type of genres.
Yeah, we have to, man. You can't, especially when you're playing for the type of function that we're getting ready to play for in San
Mhm.
Antonio, because it's going to be all different ages, and it's going to be just a house full of people, and they like different kind of music, and it's
Yeah.
going to be different nationalities in there, and people like different kind of music, and you want to kind of try to satisfy everybody with at least hit on something that they can relate to, and that's what we do. That's what we've been doing, and there's five of us, and sometimes I bring my son with me. Depends on he's at a big church now in Springfield, Missouri, called James River Church. So he's one of the main guys there. So it's hard to get him now, but when he comes, we just
Oh,
have that chemistry, father and son chemistry. So
but what instrument does he play?
he plays everything.
I knew
He
you was
plays
gonna say
everything.
that because I said it too, probably every
Yeah,
day.
when I say everything, a lot of people say he plays everything. No, he plays piano, he plays keyboard, drums, and vocals. That's it. And that's enough for me. Yeah, and
Okay.
then if my drummer was sick or couldn't show, he would play drums and just as good as any drummer around here. Keyboard player, he play. So
Hmm.
it's a blessing and a curse because I hate that he's gone, but I'm glad for him.
Yeah,
That's one, but he definitely helps me out when
good,
he's
good. So let me ask you something crazy. What has been the strangest place you played at?
strange as far as what's concerned.
Uh, you wasn't expecting for what it was, you know?
Um, I played one time, and this was in a I forget where it was, but I tell you, it was jam packed and it was scary because the building, just like one of those juke joints building, the floor in the place was dirt. They didn't
Ooh.
have a floor. That's the kind of situation it was. The floor was dirt. Your shoes is all dusty and your pants leg is dusty at the end of the thing, but the people had a great time, and that would have to be one of the strangest places that I played because when I pulled up there, I was ready to cancel the gig just by seeing the building. But
Yeah.
those people had a great time, and it was so. I think it might have been in Baton Rouge or Port Arthur, somewhere between Louisiana and Texas. You know, one of those places. When I was doing a tour, I was doing my tour for my one of my CDs. So I was doing that area. So
Yeah.
I hit in Beaumont, Port Arthur, then went to Louisiana, Baton Rouge, and so yeah, it was one of those spots. But that was one of the strangest. Now I've had a lot of strange gigs, so
Yeah,
but I play anywhere. I play in the bathroom.
there you go.
Yeah,
Hey, I heard that when you play overseas, jazz, R&B artists, they almost treat you like royalty over there.
yeah,
They
they do. They do.
they break everything down for you to make sure you're taken care of and you got a following.
Yeah, make sure you're taken care of. You got a following, and you are like royalty. First of all, being from America, and then second of all, being a musician, a black musician, and put it that way. They love us, and um, they would like doing concerts. You could hear a pin drop. There is very seldom to get people screaming out or something while you would want that, and it's kind of hard to get used to that type of thing because they are sitting there listening totally. They're not ain't nobody talking. They're not responding like a good preacher want to hear some amens sometimes.
Right.
And, you don't get the amens. You just got to know within yourself what you're doing. And but they love it when it's over with. They will give you a standing ovation. It's overwhelming the way they are. But if you're not ready for that, it'll if you need some audience response for you to work, that'll be hard for you to work there.
Oh, wow.
Especially,
I'm going back when I first moved here to Texas in 1978. I brought all my DJ equipment down and I got in with this one guy. I said, hey man, can I come in and play? I'll play for free. I just want to get in the door. So I
right,
got in there, I played to about midnight. Not one person got on the dance floor.
right,
And I said, I told him, man, I am so sorry, man. I didn't know what's going on. He said, no, 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 no. You don't get it. This guy, I can't remember this other DJ name. He had one turntable, one microphone. He would play music, sing for a little bit, then go to the bar and have a drink for 15, 20 minutes.
right,
And they were used to that. He said, no, you came in with nonstop music. They were not used to that.
right,
You
right,
hit them where they didn't, wait a minute, is this what it's all about? But then after that, it was okay. But I understand when you play somewhere and you want, because we feed off the crowd.
right,
Just like bands and DJs, we feed off the crowd. Would even when I'm DJing, the crowd dictate how you're going to play your music because you find if it's a fast crowd, a medium crowd, you find out, but you got to learn how to read the crowd. And you want that instant gratification coming back, people clapping, having a good time. But when they sitting there, like you said, overseas, because that's why they admire the black artists over there.
right.
Because the times you sit there and play that music, they are listening note for note, and they could probably go back and repeat that 3 days later.
Exactly. And you know, I uh I really if nobody have to be there for me to perform, and it could be a jam-packed house for me to perform, but because I play to the spirit. I play to the spirit, and that's always gratification for me. So if I'm playing to the spirit, you're gonna be on or you're not gonna be on if you listening. And but for most of the time, me knowing what I'm doing and playing to the spirit and for the spirit, you can't go wrong. If you cut in the yard for the spirit, you can't go wrong. Whatever you do it for the Lord, and you don't need an audience to do what you do. And
Right.
that's
Right about that.
yeah.
So, so have you played gigs where, man, everything was great, everything sounded good. And then you play another gig and you said, man, that didn't sound too good. We are our own worst critics. And
Right.
you sit back and you swear that you played the same way, but something wasn't right. Do you have those moments where you're trying to maybe adjust doing mid concert that, hey
You know,
man, something's not right here.
yeah, if like you said, if you playing a role, like when we play, most bands they have a when they're gonna do a show, they're gonna have a show list, and they're gonna go down that list verbatim, straight down the list. Well, I don't do that. I read the audience, and if I start out playing a certain type of way, and I don't think everybody's following me, I'll switch completely to another. So the band we ready to switch because you don't know what kind of audience, and then you don't know what kind of mood the people might be in. Yeah, I can play somewhere on Friday and then play the same place on Saturday and get an entirely different thing because the mood from people getting off of work or they off all day or whatever they going through. So I have to be able to change with the time, change the music the same way. So yeah, of course, I get the only thing that makes me kind of nervous or butterflies is it's not the band, it's the sound man. And when you come and play with new sound companies that don't know you, if I bring my own sound man, I'm good. But if the audience if it don't sound right to me, and I have my own sound man, I know it must be right. Just the monitors how I'm hearing it might not be the way but if he's running around trying to make adjustments, then I know something ain't right. So I get tense about that type of thing, but that's about it. For the most part, I just do, I trust somebody else.
Yeah. And you said the keyword trust.
Right.
And you're right about the sound man. You're absolutely right. A lot of people don't know how critical that is to a show
Right.
because your sound man got to be on point and they know. And that's the reason why we do this thing that some people don't do. It's called a sound check. The easiest thing to do is a sound check. And with the new boards right now, once you do the sound check and everything, that's pre-record. I mean, it's there ready. You hit a button, it goes right back where you did the sound check at.
Mm-hmm. And the only difference will be just adjust to the size of the room or the size of the crowd. Because when you do a sound check, the crowd is not there. But I done a show, Rest in Peace, with Frankie Beverly, and he stopped in the middle of the show. And I know they did a sound check, but say, look, we can't go on until we get this sound right. And they got it right then, and they started back, and it was entirely different. But I've done that before too. If it's just so bad, and you're not giving the people what they paid for, and it's not your fault, it's the sound man fault that don't really know you. He's just a regular sound man and don't know at this point I need to cue this up or cue this down or do this. Then you have to. I believe that I'll stop in the middle of the show too and say, you know what, we want to give y'all the best that we can do, so we need to get this straight. And most of the time, people understand that.
Yeah. So y'all also got those signals that people don't know that you may signal the sound man some type of signal. He knows whether to give you a little bit more reverb, maybe to
Right.
tone it up a little bit, tone it down. And that's when you're working with the same person all the time. They know you.
Most professionals come with their own sound man. They're gonna have a sound unit. That means they have their own monitor man and their own sound man. And I was when I traveled with Ice. Ice had a whole team of people that did everything for him. So, and we knew how it was gonna be everywhere we went because it was the same people. We traveled together. It was always the same. And I think most professional bands are the same way. They just travel like that. They carry their own sound people. They carry their own people.
I was telling somebody that some people behind the scenes are the most important ones there. I mean, the singer and the artist out there singing, but if they don't have that person behind the scenes, whether it's a cameraman or the sound man, then you just like everybody else.
That's the same thing with anything. Football, radio. You just the man on the air, but there's a whole lot of stuff go in place before you get there.
Oh,
I don't know what it is now since they got so many people doing it from the houses and doing this what they call it radio uh uh what's the radio where people You can rent the radio station and go in and do it, a syndicate podcast and all the different things. Yeah. And so back in the day, you had to have people, producers, and you had to have people set up everything. And you as a DJ, you as a, all you did is go in and do what you do.
You sat down. Yeah, everything was done. You sat down there and
right.
but you're right about that, because when I go do live remotes, it's just me. And nobody knows what goes on behind the scene. All they see is the finished product.
Right.
They don't know that something happened. Something happened this morning. And I recognized it right away without I didn't even skip a beat. Nobody knew that something was wrong, but I knew it was wrong. And
Right.
I corrected it right away, and we went on our merry way. Because, that is funny, because people come up and they look at you, oh man, you don't know my story, what it took me to get where I'm at to do what I'm doing.
Right.
So
yeah, you don't worry about stuff when you're doing it yourself, because you know you're not gonna let you down. And sometimes I do shows, I do my own sound, and I don't worry about that sound, because I know if I'm running the sound, it's gonna be right, because I'm not gonna wreck myself if I can.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be in town on the 31st for New Year's Eve?
I will be.
What other places will you be playing at? You got anything lined up for next year?
Not yeah. Well, on the 2nd, I have to come back and play in. I think I go to Oklahoma on the 2nd. I have to check, but I'm pretty sure I go to Oklahoma. So I have to get right back there this weekend. On the 28th, I'm in Texarkana, and then the 29th, I'm back in Dallas. Then the 30th, I'm there in San Antonio, and then the next day, I'm in Oklahoma.
Oh man, you're all over the place, all over Texas.
Yeah. I praise God.
Yeah, he got you going,
Yeah.
But is there any last words you want to tell the audience on how they get a hold of you to book or anything?
Yeah, you can go on my website, DonDiegoJazz.com, or just Google Don Diego Jazz. There's another Don Diego. I think he's a hip hop artist. I know he's a hip hop artist. So you have to say Don Diego Jazz. You can go on YouTube. You can go on Spotify and get my music. You can go on Facebook. It's all Don Diego Jazz. If you put Don Diego Jazz, that's me. And you can find my music. Or you can go on iTunes and find my music.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you guys. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yes, sir.
When I come to San Antonio, man. And I appreciate you for doing the interview with me. And I appreciate what you're doing. And I can respect what you're doing. And if it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be right here. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So until then, you take care. And,
all right.
And Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Same to you.
And we'll talk to you down the line, sir.
Okay, then. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Have a funky day.
All righty. Thank you for tuning in to WSAN Radio. Catch us on our YouTube channel, WSAN Radio SA. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button.